I've said it a million times by now, but I love this place so much. Anyway, this building, the Triple Battle House, which is, as you might expect, the rotation battle house in black. The way these work, just in case I haven't been clear on that before, is that, well, why not? But anyway, the idea is that in white, there's a pool of battles that can be triple or rotation. In white, most of them are triple with like one rotation near the Marvelous Bridge, and in black, it's the reverse. So this is why there are quite a few triple battles in this LP, but I don't think we have seen rotation battles yet in this LP. We are going to see probably one or two, and then we're going to see a heck of a lot more in white too, because it's more balanced in black and white too. So while I do these triple battles, I just wanted to come back on what I was talking about in my white 2 Let's Play, the Pokemon World Tournament, the team that I want to use. Well, I have decided, thanks to your suggestions, as a lead, I think I'm going to be using Skill Link Cinccino. I was told that it was surprisingly effective, considering that, well, its attack is not really the best, but it's got those super strong moves that can also break subs, and also sturdy on the Focus Sash, which could come in handy. And as a result, well, it's a really interesting idea, and something that I learned through your comments that I didn't know of was that, as far as the King's Rock goes, the effect has a chance of being triggered with each hit, which means that something like Rock Blast or Tail Slap that hits 5 times, you get a 41% chance of flinching. So I'm going to be doing that for the last. I'm going to use a Cinccino with Skill Link and also King's Rock as my lead. Of course, it's going to have U-Turn as its 4th move, just in case Cinccino isn't a good match for the opponent's lead. And for my other 2 Pokemon, well, you guys strongly recommended that I go with Starmie. Of course, Starmie, it's always a good choice. It's so good in just about any conditions. Got great type coverage, great stats. It's just all around an excellent Pokemon. One of the most consistently good of all time, in my opinion. And for my last one, well, I have seen Togekiss being mentioned in the comments, but I don't like the idea of using both Starmie and Togekiss in the same team, considering that I can only use 3 Pokemon because, well, the reason should be obvious. Holy electric weakness, Batman! And without a ground move to fight these guys off, it's just asking for trouble whenever I actually run into an electric type that's not like Emolga or something like that. So in the end, I decided on Lucario for my 3rd team member. I think, well, I'm not an expert at 3 versus 3 battles, but I think this team, considered that I'm not going to be facing human opponents, only the CPU, even though the context is very different from regular in-game play. Well, I think that's going to be a fairly good team. Now I only have to decide which moves to use on Lucario. Do I go with a more bog-standard set, or do I use moves that aren't typically used very much on Lucario, such as Earthquake, just to grant my team some extra type coverage, considering that, once again, I only have 3 Pokemon to work with. But anyway, that was all I had to say on the matter. Moving on, what do we got in this house? Yes, I know that. I've been there already. Here we got, is that the Attract team? No, it's a Destiny Knot, which basically makes it so that when Attract is used on you, well, both Pokemon fall in love with each other instead of the affection merely being one-sided. Of course, it's yet another item that pretty much never sees any use competitively. In fact, Attract itself doesn't see any use as far as I can tell. I can't remember the last time I've seen Attract actually being put to use. But, okay, so doesn't seem to be anything in there. There is still a street that I haven't checked out, however, so we're going to go and do just that. Here we have the Gym of Iris, which we're not going to go to quite yet. As I said before, I want to go to Route 10 first and get maybe an extra level on some of my Pokemon before facing Iris, because, let's face it, other than Ghetsis' Hydreigon, which at least has the benefit of having a second type to, exploit weaknesses, Iris, it's Mono Dragon, so if you want to land super effective hits, it's either Ice or Dragon, and guess what? I have neither! So, as far as I'm concerned, she's pretty much that one boss for this game. So, okay, they're talking about props, so if I remember, that old man over there is going to give me a prop for the musicals every day for a certain number of days, and, no, I'm not a huge musical fan! That thing was practically shoved into my hands! No, I'm not a huge musical fan! You are so dense. No, it's not fun! Dressing up your Pokemon like some whatever is not fun. Remember when I tried playing dress up with my Excadrill? It looked like a complete doofus. Anyway, as I was saying, this guy is going to give you one prop every day for a certain number of days until you have gotten every prop that this guy can give you. So, once again, we have some NPCs who are pondering what Team Plasma says. It's weird. Pokemon has been so ingrained into that world's culture that I would have imagined people would have been a lot more reticent than that to actually give in to Team Plasma's demands and just release their Pokemon. But, it's worth thinking, have they been taking Pokemon for granted for too long? And it seems like that's it for Opelucid City, so I'm just going to heal my Pokemon really quick, especially since my Sigilif took quite a beating back there. It was on the receiving end of a critical hit from a Pawniard, which really, really hurt it, but it survived! That's the most important thing, so not that it's really that important to keep my death count down, since this isn't a Nuzlocke, but it's still, I still want some bragging rights. So, right, I almost forgot. I want to switch my lead here. I'm gonna go with Virizion. Either Virizion or Mienshao would be good, but Virizion is still in catch-up mode, so I'll go with it. The reason why I go with Virizion is because, well, simply put, Bouffalant is a really common wild Pokemon on this route, as I recall, and it has the firepower to wreck your face. I am dead serious. Let's recap, shall we? I forget its exact attack stat, but I think it's something like 115 or something like that. Really strong, but it also has Head Charge, which is basically a double edge with slightly less recoil. The equivalent recoil of Takedown, in fact, 25%. And it can also come with Reckless, which means that power goes up to something like 144. And of course it gets Stab on it. So put all that together, and you got a pain sandwich you won't soon forget. Seriously, Bouffalant, in my opinion, just might be the single most threatening random wild Pokemon in the entire series. Some of them are annoying, like Zubat, like Tentacool, like Boldore, but in terms of sheer threat level, Bouffalant would probably have to be my pick. And on top of that, just wait till you get until Black and White 2, no, wait a second, I'll come back to that later, because while we're hearing the awesome music this route has, seriously, probably my favorite piece in the entire game, and one of my favorites in the entire series as well. And is that an Amoonguss? No, it's an unevolved Foongus. Black and White 2 is a lot more fond of throwing wild evolved Amoongusses at your face when you encountered such fake items. But yeah, I was talking about the Route 10 music. apparently, Game Freak realized that, you know, this was one of their best songs to date, because, and here's a wild Bouffalant, just praying here that one Sacred Sword will be enough to take it out, because Virizion isn't exactly known for its attacking prowess, and Bouffalant, for what it's worth, is bulkier than Tauros was. But yes, that is enough, so that is a concern that I had that is somewhat alleviated. But yeah, I think many of us were pissed that this area didn't come back in Black and White 2, and that's the only place where this song plays. But Game Freak must have known that this was one of their best works to date, as I was saying, because you can get to hear this song, but you have to jump through some hoops to do it, because remember that house? No thanks. I'm not gonna take the chance to get absolutely raped by an Emolga, even if it's an Audino. I don't really care, because I have this huge level advantage, which really means a lot in terms of how much less experience I would gain. But yeah, as I was saying, remember that house in Icirus that can only be accessed in the winter? Well, you can hear it there. So you have to get to Icirus, which is a post-game only area in Black and White 2, and you have to be in the winter. And I'm not terribly fond of messing with my system's clock, considering that it can screw you out of certain things, such as buying stuff from the Join Avenue. But I got way off topic there. Then again, I guess this is one of the things I'm known for. I was talking about Bouffalant in-game. In Black and White 2, it's even worse, because when you get to Route 23, not only does it have Head Charge, but then it also has Reversal and Megahorn. So, yeah, it's even more equipped to kick your ass than it used to be. So, yeah, there's a pretty damn good reason why in both games they waited until the last route before Victory Road to show it to you, and it's because it's designed to wreck your face. It's not designed to be a stellar Pokemon to use, but the fact that, you know, it's a single form, it doesn't evolve from or into anything, and it's pretty strong when it comes to that kind of standards, it makes it into a real threat when you get to encounter one in Game 1 that should be handled with extreme caution. And this is coming from a guy who's usually overleveled as all shit, especially against wild Pokemon. If there's one wild Pokemon that I fear, it would have to be Bouffalant. But as I said, it's not that good competitively because of two reasons. One, it's slow. Two, mono-normal typing. That doesn't do it any favors, because otherwise it can get by pretty well. Its attack is, as I said, pretty good. It's fairly bulky, not overly so, but it can still take a hit if it really has to. And its move pool, well, it's not the best ever, but it's enough to go by. It's got Head Charge, Megahorn, it can Edge Quake, and that's basically all it needs. It can use Super Power if it wants to. There's also Iron Head and Outrage if you're completely nuts. But otherwise, yeah, it's just really, really let down by poor typing, like so many other mononormal types that are confined to the rarely used tier, which is a shame because Bouffalant is really good for a mononormal type. Of course, it's not up to the standards of something like Porygon 2 or Chansey or Blissey, but I still sort of like it. And just look at it! Just look at the way it looks! How can you not like it? It's got an afro, it's got bling on its horns, it's just awesomeness in buffalo form. I don't know who came up with the idea of basically crossbreeding Tauros with Mirrorby, but it works, and it's just absolutely awesome. I really like Bouffalant. Shame it has to be stuck with that crappy typing, because otherwise it might be something that people would consider using a bit more often. And with that, we are going to end this video here. So next time on Let's Play Pokemon White, we're going to complete Route 10 and maybe make some headway into the final gym of this game.